Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today guys, I'm going to do part 1 to my Claude AI chatbot series. This is one of the that I was talking about last time that was similar to ChatGPT. However, here's the thing about this one. It has a limit, and a shorter limit than what ChatGPT does. And unlike ChatGPT, you can't continue to message it once it runs out. There's no second model you can use. You have to use this one, and then you have to wait. It doesn't take as long. Like ChatGPT takes like 4 hours. This one only takes like 2. But at the same time, it's like you get fewer messages, and while it takes less time, that means we ain't gonna have as much fun with this one as we could with some of the other ones. That's why I chose this one over the other ones first. Some of the other ones, I have a little more freedom, and on top of that, well, I don't have to worry about limit as much. So, yeah. I made the Imagination Creature Creation Station, the Dinosaur Research Facility, and then the Creature Nursery Raising Center as well. However, and the thing I like about this one is it actually gives you a whole big story. I'm being completely serious. Like, this may not look like much, but do you see this button right here? Look at this. Do you see this? Look. It's like you're legit reading a story. Because they make it like a storybook sort of thing, which is really cool. But like I said, guys, I don't have as much of a limit on this one. So, and they even give you a title for the story right here. I don't know if it's going to go completely the way I want to, but we'll try it out. We'll see how good everything goes. Before I do, guys, let me do something real quick. Okay, guys, we're good to go. They called this story the Imagination Creature Creation Station Grand Opening. Like I said, they actually made like a big old storybook thing for this, even giving you like little things about different places in the facility, which is really cool. So yeah, here's what it says. The morning sun cast brilliant rays through the massive crystal clear dome that crowns your revolutionary facility. They actually call it facility there, I've learned. Today is the day you've been working toward for years. Holy crap, you had to make a whole big story, alright. The grand opening of the Imagination Creature Creation Station. The building itself is a marvel of modern architecture mixed with fantastical design elements, spiraling towers that seem to twist impossibly upward, walls that shimmer with an opalescent sheen, and windows shaped like dragon scales that filter the light into rainbow patterns across the polished floors. Okay, that's kind of cool. As you stand in the main lobby, taking in the sight of your life's work, the scale of what you've accomplished is breathtaking. The entrance hall soars 5 stories high, with a magnificent spiral staircase that carves around a central pillar containing a living ecosystem, a preview of the wonders that await visitors deeper in the facility. Yep, the DNA vault. Beyond the lobby lies the heart of your operation, the DNA vault. This cathedral-like chamber stretches as far as the eye can see, its walls lined with thousands upon thousands of massive gallon containers, each one carefully labeled and climate-controlled. The containers glow with soft-colored light, blue for aquatic creatures, green for terrestrial, whatever, animals, gold for mythical beings, and eternal purpose for the Pokemon specimens. Each gallon-sized vessel contains perfectly preserved genetic material suspended in a shimmering gel-like medium that keeps the DNA stable and viable. The Lugia sample glows with an otherworldly silver light, its container humming with barely contained energy. Nearby, the Farragut DNA churns with a deep blue intensity, while the Noivern sample seems to pulse with sonic vibrations that create mesmerizing patterns in its containment fluid. The mythical section is particularly awe-inspiring. Dragon DNA that shifts between fiery reds and deep emeralds, phoenix samples that seem to flicker with eternal flames, and unicorn genetic material that sparkles with pearl-like luminescence. Even more exotic specimens line the upper reaches, Griffin DNA with its dual-colored helixes, Kraken samples that write hypnotically in their containers, and ballistic genetic material kept behind additional protective barriers. Okay, let's see. The lab. Oh my gosh, yeah, like I said, it goes into a bunch of detail. The laboratory complex. Adjacent to the vault, your state-of-the-art laboratory complex sprawls across multiple adjacent to the vault. It sprawls across multiple interconnected chambers. Gleaming stainless steel workstations are equipped with precision instruments that look like they belong in both a high-tech laboratory and a magical alchemist's workshop. Hundreds of test tubes in various sizes line the walls, some no bigger than your thumb for delicate genetic samples, others as large as wine bottles for mere substational mixing projects. The mixers range from gentle, slow-stirring devices perfect for combining compatible DNA strands to powerful surgical chambers that can blend the most stubborn genetic combinations. Crystal bowls of various sizes sit ready for the more artistic aspects of creature creation. Some carved from single gemstones, others forged from meteorite metal, each designed to hold specific types of genetic material without contamination. Oh crap, so that means I don't have as much freedom on this one, do I? Ahmed pipettes dance gracefully overhead on precision tracks, ready to mesmerize and transfer exact amounts of DNA with scientific precision. Oh boy. The Genesis engine. Holy crap, that's a cool name. The centerpiece of your facility is the Genesis engine, a magnificent machine that stands 3 stories tall in its own dedicated chamber. Its surface is a seamless blend of stands at 3 stories tall in its own. Wait, dadgummit! Its surface is a seamless blend of polished chrome and organic curves, with veins of pulsing energy visible beneath its beneath its translucent panels. I keep on going back up. There's so much to read on this. The machine's core contains a swirling vortex of creative energy, where the mixed DNA is transformed through processes that blend cutting-edge science with forces that seem almost magical. Feed tubes connect the Genesis machine to every workstation in the facility, allowing for seamless transfer of prepared genetic combinations. Once the DNA mixture is introduced, the machine's internal chambers begin their work, first analyzing the genetic complexity, then weaving the strands together in precise patterns, and finally condensing the entire genetic blueprint into a perfectly formed egg. The eggs that emerge are works of an art in themselves, some smooth and pearl-like, others covered in intricate patterns that hint at the creatures within. Dragon eggs emerge with scales already visible on their shells, while phoenix eggs glow with inner warmth. Pokemon eggs display the distinctive patterns associated with their species, and mythical creatures' eggs often seem to shift and change appearance as you watch them. Holy crap. This is very complex, and there's still 2 more sections. The incubation gardens. Your incubation facility is unlike anything that world has ever seen. Rather than sterile clinical incubators, you've created a series of specialized environmental chambers that mimic the perfect hatching conditions for each type of creature. The aquatic garden features pools of crystal clear water at precisely controlled temperatures, with gentle currents and the soft sound of waterfalls. Here, eggs of sea creatures and water-type Pokemon rest on beds of soft sand and coral. The Forest Sanctuary recreates the perfect woodland environment, complete with filtered sunlight, the sound of rustling leaves, and the fresh scent of earth and growing things. Bird eggs and forest creatures incubate here among artificial trees that sway in gentle, programmed breezes. The Dragon's Lair chamber radiates controlled heat from volcanic glass walls, providing the intense warmth that dragon eggs require. The air shimmers with heat waves, and the sound of distant thunder adds to the ambiance. The Celestial Chamber houses the most exotic eggs, a room where artificial stars twinkle overhead and the temperature fluctuates in precise patterns that mirror cosmic cycles. Oh, there's two more, but one of them's about me arriving, I think. The size moderation wing. Yep, there's the size moderator. Perhaps one of your most innovative additions is the size moderation facility. This gleaming chamber houses a collection of sophisticated devices that can alter a creature's size without the usual constraints of growth and time. The machine looks like elegant archways made of silver and gold, with energy fields that shimmer between their frames. Smaller creatures can be genetically enlarged by passing through the growth field, while larger creatures can be safely miniatured. The process is completely painless and can be reversed at any time. Control panels allow for precise size and adjustments. Want a pocket-sized dragon? Simply dial in the desired dimensions. Prefer your fans to be as large as an eagle? Should be much harder. The machine can accommodate any reasonable size request. Reasonable, which means I can't legit make them massive. Dang it. And then finally, the moment of rise. As you stay in your facility on this historic morning, everything is ready. The DNA samples pulse with potential, the machinery hums with barely contained energy, and the incubation chambers await their first occupants. Outside, you can hear the excited chatter of the crowd that has gathered for the grand opening. Scientists, families, creature enthusiasts, and reporters all eager to witness the dawn of a new age in creature creation. Holy crap. The ribbon stretched across your entrance door seems to shimmer with anticipation, and the ceremonial scissors in your hand feel surprisingly heavy with the weight of this moment. Your staff of skilled genetic artist and creature can oh my gosh. Your staff of skilled genetic artist and creature care specialists stand ready at their stations, their faces glowing with pride and excitement. What would you like to do to officially open the Imagination Creature Creation Station? And I want to take you see, like the one thing about this, and it's really cool. It gives you like a whole big like story thing that goes along with it. The issue is it doesn't let you have it for long. Once it, I'm going. The thing also about it is because it gives you so much to do. Maybe what I can do is like I can walk out the door. Oh, I didn't say, but was I standing in the facility or standing out? Oh my gosh, my brain stays dumb. Okay, guys. Since it takes so long, I will go ahead and actually pause it. There's something I gotta do, but I will make sure to actually type it all out before I unpause it, and then like have it ready to go. See you in a second. Okay, guys. It did take me a while, but it is continuing the story, and it's not gonna give the most details, but it is doing exactly what I want to do. As long as it gives me as long as it still gives me a bunch of detail enough to where I can actually have fun with everything. This one should be good. Although, like I said, I don't have as much freedom on this one because, again, this is the one that runs up quickly and then I have to wait 2 hours or whatever to get it to work again. So, yeah. Here's what happens, though. I walk outside the facility where everybody is waiting, and that's where I speak. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the grand opening of the Imagination Creature Creation Station. I need everybody to listen up, please. Once I cut this ribbon, I need you to go inside and find a seat inside the DNA vault area. Inside there, I'm going to explain how everything works. Here we go. The crowd outside erupts in excitement as you step through the gleaming doors of your facility. The gathered I don't even know what that word is, but I'm not going to say it, is more diverse and numerous than you could have imagined. Families with wide-eyed children pressing forward to get a better look, and distinguished scientists in lab coats clutching notepads, reporters with cameras and microphones jostling for position, and creature enthusiasts of all ages wearing t-shirts featuring their favorite mythical beings and Pokemon. A hush falls over the assembly as you raise your hand, your voice carrying clearly across the plaza thanks to the discrete sound amplification system built into the facility's exterior. The morning breeze carries the scent of possibility, and you can see reflections of the buildings and decent walls dancing in the excited eyes of your audience. Here we go. Thank you all for being here on this historic day. Your voice rings out, and a cheer goes up from the crowd. Children bounce on their parents' shoulders, trying to get a better view, while elderly visitors lean forward on their walking canes, not wanting to miss a single word. Near the front, a group of young trainers wearing Pokemon League caps whisper excitedly to each other, while behind them a family of four holds hands, the younger child clutching a stuffed dragon toy. Okay, that's cool as heck. Local news crews have set up their equipment at strategic angles, their red recording lights blinking as they capture every moment. The ribbon stretches across the magnificent entrance doors, which are themselves works of art, carved from what appears to be crystallized DNA helixes that shift colors in the sunlight. The ceremonial scissors in your hand are specifically crafted from meteorite metal. What the frick? Engraved with tiny creatures that seem to dance along the blades. As you finish speaking, the crowd begins to move with eager anticipation, forming orderly lines as they prepare to enter. Security personnel and your staff members appear at the entrance, ready to guide the visitor safely through the facility. The master DNA vault doors, normally sealed, have been opened wide to accommodate the crowd, revealing glimpses of the glowing containers within. The excitement is palpable as people start cluttering about what they hope to see, parents explaining to their children what's about to happen, and scientists discussing the implications of your breakthrough with barely contained enthusiasm. The crowd waits with bated breath as you approach the ribbon with the ceremonial scissors, ready to follow your instructions and create the DNA vault enter the DNA vault area. Okay, so it's kind of, I guess it's kind of like a thing where you have to actually, where you just like have to it'll go as far as you decide to tell it to go. And I guess like if I went ahead and like cut the rope there and all that, they would have actually walked in and went to sit down. Alright guys, I'm going to put that, because it's already been 17 minutes, I've only read 2 things. That's how long it takes to read all this. I'll be right back. Alright guys, it did work. I just take the scissors in my hand and cut the ribbon and say, welcome everyone. Please go inside and go to sit oh my gosh, sit in the DNA vault. My staff will leave you there. Yep. Okay, this thing has better voice recognition too. Great. Snip! The ceremonial scissors slice through the ribbon with a satisfying sound that seems to echo with magical remnants. As the two halves of the ribbon flutter in the ground, they shimmer and dissolve into sparkles of light that drift upward like fairy dust. Okay, that's kind of neat. A small but impressive detail you program into the ribbon's special material. What the frick? The crowd erupts in thunderous applause and cheers. Camera flashes create a strode light effect as reporters capture the historic moment, while children squeal with delight and adults clap enthusiastically. Someone in the crowd shouts, "Amazing!" while others whistle and cheer. Your staff members, dressed in elegant uniforms that blend scientific professionalism with a touch of whimsical flair, immediately spring into action. They wear badges that glow softly with the same luminescent technology used in the facility. Each carries a small tablet displaying facility maps and creature information. Wait. Welcome to the Imagination Creature Creation Station. Your head tour guide announces through a small amplification device. Please follow the golden pathway marked on the floor. That leads you directly to the DNA Vault viewing area. The crowd begins to flow through the massive entrance doors in an orderly but excited stream. I can't. Either I'm going back up by mistake when I'm trying to read this, because there's like, holy crap. As visitors step inside, many gasp audibly at their first sight of the soaring lobby. A central ecosystem pillar draws particular attention, with children pointing excitedly at the miniature creature visible through its transparent walls. Golden light strips embedded in the floor pulse gently, creating a clear path toward the DNA vault. The sound of hundreds of footsteps mingles with excited chatter. Look at those walls. Is that really dragon DNA? Mom, can we make a Pokemon today? The architecture is incredible. Your staff members position themselves at key points along the route, cheerfully answering questions and helping guide the flow of visitors. Within minutes, the crowd has moved efficiently through the lobby and is gathering in the specially prepared viewing area of the DNA vault, where comfortable seating has been arranged in amphitheater-style setup facing the most impressive section of your collection. The visitors settle into their seats, craning their necks to take in the magnificent sight of thousands of glowing DNA containers stretching up toward this cathedral ceiling. The murmur of amazed voices fills the space as people point out different specimens to their companions. Your wireless microphone system activates automatically as you enter the vault, ready for your presentation to begin. Now, see, the thing about it is, if this was, I like how it gives so much more detail, but I noticed one big thing that I've run into is that now, because it's doing this, I don't have a, now it's hard for me to be able to describe how this place works. Because normally I can be like, okay, there's bulbs over here, there's DNA right there, there's this, and there's this, and there's this, but now there's like whole different rooms for each one, which, so I'm going to have to actually pause it, go through the story, find out where all the bowls and everything are that I used, or the vials and everything is again, and then make sure we're good to go so I make sure I'm saying everything right. Give me a bit, because this can take a while. Alright, guys, before I even explained everything, I actually went ahead and told them about like what kind of to expect. I said, okay, everyone, I'm going to talk to you today about how to create your own creature in our facility. Before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and let you know that no matter what the creature is, it will be extremely friendly towards you if you show it a lot of love and care. You have a massive Tyrannosaurus Rex for alligator hybrid the size of a 10-story building, and he will still be friendly as long as you show him love and don't be mean to him. Is that clear? Yep. The massive DNA vault falls into an unexpected hush as your voice carries clearly through the wireless sound system. Every face in the amplified style seating turns towards you with rapt attention. The gentle humming of the climate control systems and the soft glow from thousands of DNA containers create an almost mystical atmosphere. A wave of excited murmurs rippled through the crowd at your words. Parents exchanged glances with a mixture of wonder and slight concern. Holy money. Okay, guys, sorry about that. Here's what it says. It says, a wave of excited murmurs rippled through the crowd at your words. Parents exchanged glances with a mixture of wonder and slight concern, while children's eyes grow wide with amazement at the thought of befriending creatures of such incredible size and power. A 10-story building sized T-Rex? A young boy near the front whispered loudly to his sister, who bounces out in her seat. An elderly scientist in the third row adjusts her glasses and leans forward, closely fascinated by the behavioral implications of your statement. Several porn trainers nod knowingly. They're already familiar with the concept of creature bonding, though perhaps not quite on the scale. From various sections of the audience come enthusiastic responses. Yes! Yes! Shouts a teenager wearing a dragon-themed jacket. That's incredible! Calls out a mother holding her toddler. Amazing technology! Exclaims a researcher, frantically scribbling notes. Bart raises his hand slightly and calls out. So the size doesn't affect their temperament at all? Even the mythical creatures? The crowd settles back into attentive silence, but you can see the excitement building in their expressions. Children are whispering to their parents about what creatures they want to create, while adults are clearly processing the revolutionary implications of what you just told them. The glowing DNA containers around you seem to pulse a little brighter, as if responding to the energy in the room. Behind you, the Fragger sample catches the light dramatically, while the Dragon DNA containers cast dancing shadows on the vault walls. Everyone waits eagerly for your next words, their faces illuminated by the soft, bioluminescent glow of your incredible facility. Cool. This form of speech recognition is gonna screw me over big time. You guys won't believe this bullcrap. I said, I told the father asked the question. I said, good question, sir. No. No matter what the creature is, it will be extremely friendly towards you as long as you or your children are being nice to eat first. I put it and it put eat. Luckily, they didn't get angry at me for it, but they asked it. The crowd leans in with intense interest as you address the father's question. However, there's a moment of confused murmuring as people. Yep, Sammy, process your last words. Several parents exchange puzzled glances, and you can see a visitor tilting their heads with uncertain expressions. Oh my god! A woman in the middle section raises her hand tentatively. Excuse me? She calls out politely. Could you clarify what you meant by that last part? I think we might have missed something important about how to interact with the creature safely. Parker who asked the original question nods, looking slightly Yeah, I want to make sure I understand the safety protocols correctly, especially with my kids here. A teenage girl near the back whispers to her friend, Did he say something about eating? I couldn't quite hear. Oh, thank God. Thanks a lot, thing. Crowd remains respectfully quiet but expectant, we wanting to fully understand the critical safety information before proceeding. Parents are paying particularly close attention, some taking out their phones to record your response. Scientists in attendance have their pens poised over their notepads, ready to document the important behavioral guidelines. The atmosphere in the DNA vault remains excited, but now carries an undertone of anticipation as everyone waits for you to clarify this vital information about creature interaction and safety protocols. Behind you, the massive collection of DNA samples continues to glow softly, with the Pokemon specimens seeming to pulse gently as if sensing the crowd's focused attention. And here's what I said. Luckily they understood after I explained it, but it said it came out wrong. The creatures will be nice to you if you're nice to them first. For instance, even if it's a massive hybrid of a Lugia and Dragon, it can be the sweetest creature in the world, even if it's massive. However, if anybody hurts it, or doesn't treat it nicely, that's where you have to worry, especially with the more dangerous creatures like dinosaurs and dragons, because they can lash out and attack. See parents with children. Make sure that you teach them to be nice to creatures. Yep. I collect a sigh of relief and understanding washes over the audience as your clarification rings out clearly through the vault. The tension that had briefly appeared on parents' faces melts away, replaced by nods of comprehension and renewed excitement. Oh, that makes perfect sense. The concerned father calls out with a smile. Just like any animal. Treat them with respect and kindness, and they'll respond in kind. A mother near the front turns to her young son and whispers, Did you hear that, Tommy? We have to be gentle and kind, just like with our dog at home, okay? The boy nods eagerly, his eyes shining as he looks up at the towering Lugia DNA container that seems to pulse with a thermal silver light. An inspected looking Pokemon trainer stands up briefly and adds, That's exactly how it works with Pokemon, too. The bond between trainer and creature is built on mutual respect and care. Several other trainers in the audience nod in agreement. The oldest scientist adjusts her glasses and speaks up. Fascinating. So the genetic modifications don't alter their capability for emotional bonding and social recognition. The behavioral patterns remain consistent regardless of size or hybrid combinations. Parents throughout the amplifier are now having quiet conversations with their children. Remember, sweetheart, gentle hands and kind words. Just like we talked about with animals at the zoo. If you're patient and loving, even a dragon will be your friend. And Tanger raises her hand slyly. Huh. So theoretically, a massive dragon Lugia hybrid could be like having the world's most amazing guardian companion? The crowd's energy had shifted back to pure excitement and wonder. The glowing DNA containers around you seemed to respond to the positive atmosphere, their bioluminescent displays pulsing in harmonious patterns. Behind you, the dragon DNA samples darkened or flicker with warm golden light, while the Lugia specimens radiate its characteristic silver-blue glow. The audience settles back onto their seats, face bright with anticipation for the next part of your presentation. Okay. Okay, guys, I'll see you in a second. Alright, guys. Here's what I said. I answered the girl's question, and I was going to show them a demonstration. I said, yes, any creature will be extremely friendly as long as you aren't mean to them and make sure that you feed them and love them. I will take you step by step on how to create one right now, so make sure you pay attention so you don't do anything wrong. Everyone follow me to the laboratory complex. It's adjacent to this room. I will explain the first steps in creating a creature there. Start walking towards the laboratory complex. Here we go. The crowd rises from their seats with a net rustling of excitement. The sound of hundreds of people moving in unison echoing through the cathedral-like DNA vault. Children tag on their parents' sleeves, while adults crane their necks to catch glimpses of the laboratory entrance as you lead the way. This is it, whispers a young girl to her brother as they follow behind their parents. I can't wait. Okay. I can't wait to see how it actually works, responds an enthusiastic college student, clutching a notebook. Your staff members smoothly coordinate the crowd movement, positioning themselves along the route to ensure everyone can follow safely. The golden pathway markers on the floor pulse brighter, creating a clear trail from the amplifier seating toward the laboratory complex entrance. As the procession moves through the vault, visitors can't help but gawk at the towering DNA containers they pass. The Noivern sample seems to vibrate with sonic energy, creating mesmerizing ripple patterns in its containment fluid. Small Child points excitedly at the Phoenix DNA, which flickers with what appears to be eternal flame. Look at all those test tubes! Someone exclaims as the massive laboratory doors come into view. The laboratory complex entrance is an impressive archway made of the same crystallized DNA material as the main doors, but smaller and more intricate. As you approach, the doors automatically slide open with a soft, harmonious chime, revealing the gleaming interior beyond. First glance of the laboratory draws gasp of amazement from the crowd. The pristine stainless steel workstations gleam under perfectly calibrated lighting, while hundreds of test tubes and mixing equipment catch the light like a forest of glass and metal. The automated pipettes overhead pulse in their graceful dance, as if acknowledging the arrival of visitors. Your wireless microphone system seamlessly transitions to the laboratory's audio network as you cross the threshold, ensuring everyone can hear your instructions clearly. Crowd follows in behind you, their voices dropping to respectful whispers as they take in the scientific magnificence surrounding them. Holy crap. Alright, guys. It actually took a long time to get a long time to type this in. I actually went into detail how to do it on here. I said, okay, everyone, in order to create a creature, you have to come in this room first and grab a small or big test tube and a bowl with one of those spoons. Those test tubes range from being tiny to being the size of a big bottle. You take at least two of those test tubes with the bowl and spoon, then go over to the machine you see right here. There is a computer beside it that shows every DNA we have in the facility, from tiny animals like squirrels and birds to massive animals like legendary Pokemon, dragons, or dinosaurs. I grab a bowl, a spoon, and two test tubes, then go over to the computer. Let's say, for instance, I want to make a fragile dinosaur. I would go on the computer and look for the DNA of both of those creatures. When you find the DNA, you would take your test tubes and put as much DNA as you want of that creature. And depending on how much you use of each creature, that will determine how it looks. Here, I'll show you. I go to the dinosaur DNA and fill a medium test tube of DNA. Then I go to the fragile DNA and fill up another medium test tube with his DNA. Once you have your DNA, you pour it into the bowl, then mix it up really well. For my creature, it's 50% of both DNA, so it will be half Fragger and half T-Rex. We're not quite done yet, but does anybody have any questions so far before I show you the last few steps to making your own creature? Here we go. The crowd watches with intense fascination as you demonstrate the process, their eyes following your every movement. The laboratory falls into a captivated silence broken only by the soft mechanical hums of the equipment and the gentle bubbling of the DNA dispensing system. As you fill the test tube, several people gasp softly at the sight of the DNA samples flowing like liquid starlight. The dinosaur DNA glows with an ancient amber light, while the Fourier sample pulses with deep aquatic blues and powerful energy patterns. When you pour both samples into the bowl, the crowd leans forward collectively to watch the two genetic materials swirl together, creating mesmerizing spiral patterns of blue and gold that seem to dance with life. Hands shoot up throughout the audience. A curious manager near the front asks, "What happens if you use unequal amounts, like 70% for alligator and 30% T-Rex?" A mother holding her young daughter raises her hand. "Are there any combinations that don't work well together? Or can you really mix any DNA samples?" And Cyborg bounces on his toes. "Can you mix more than two types? Like 3 or 4 different creatures?" Asana adjusts her glasses and inquires, "How precise do the measurements need to be? Is there a margin for error?" A Pokemon trainer called it, "Do legendary Pokemon DNA samples require any special handling or precautions?" An elderly gentleman asked, "How long does the mixed DNA remain viable once it's combined?" The crowd buzzes with anticipation, quite eager to try the process themselves. See children whispering to their parents about what combinations they want to attempt, while adults are already eyeing the computer terminals and calculating their own genetic recipes. The bowl in your hands continues to swirl with the magnificent 50-50 mixture. Combined DNA create new patterns that seem to hint at the incredible creature it will become. Give me a second, guys. Alright, guys, it's before I type this out. I just answered everybody's questions. I said, "Good question. I will answer every one of them before I continue. If you use unequal amounts, it will look more like the creature that you use the DNA more of. So if you use 70% for alligator and only 30% Tyrannosaurus Rex, it would have more of a Fourier design with a little bit of stuff that make him look like a Tyrannosaurus Rex, like Fourier's spikes, scales, an underjaw and V shape on his stomach, but maybe he would have more of a Tyrannosaurus Rex body, standing only on 2 legs and having tiny looking arms. As for you, ma'am, with the young girl, any combination would work, no matter what it is. Even two completely different species could work together. Just be careful of how much DNA you use of each creature, because if you use too much of one or the other, it might not come out how you want it. And as for you, yes, you can mix more than two. You can do 3, 4, possibly 5. However, the more you do, the weirder the creature could look. So if you do, let's say, 10 different DNA, you could get a creature out of it, but it might be the scariest or creepiest looking creature because of how much DNA you made the creature with. There we go. The crowd listens with rapt attention as you methodically answer each question, parents nod approvingly at your detailed explanations, while children's eyes grow wider with each possibility you describe. Tanger, who asked about unequal amount, grins and whispers to his friend, "So we could make like a mostly dragon creature with just a little bit of phoenix for fire powers?" The mother with the young daughter looked relieved and said, "Thank you. Sarah here wants to try mixing a unicorn with a butterfly. Sounds like that would be perfectly safe to attempt." The boy who asked about multiple DNA types bounces even more enthusiastically. "Dear Floyd sounds perfect. I want to try dragon, eagle, and maybe some lion DNA." However, when you mention the possibility of 10 different DNA combinations, creating potentially scary or creepy creatures, a ripple of nervous laughter goes through the crowd. So friends exchange glances while a few brave teenagers look intrigued by the challenge. A new voice pops up from the middle of the crowd. A young woman asks, "Is there a recommended limit for beginners? Like, should first time creators stick to just 2 or 3 types?" Oh, an older gentleman raises his hand. "What about the scientist questions? How precise do the measurements need to be? And what about the legendary Pokemon DNA handling?" A father holding his son. "If we accidentally create something that looks too scary for our kids, can we start over with a new combination?" The bowl in your hands continues to swirl with the beautiful for alligator T-Rex mixture. The DNA patterns now scattering. Wait. The DNA patterns now settling into stable helices that glow with promise. The crowd remains fully engaged, quite eager to hear your remaining answers before seeing the final steps of the creation process. Okay, guys, we just ran into the problem I was talking about. We've got one message remaining until 9 p.m. It's only 5:35. So yeah, I can only put one more thing in, and I can't finish the process. I can't even show anybody making a creature yet. That's the one problem with this one that sucks. At least it gives it back though. But character AI, you could talk for an hour with no issue, and even if you continue, because like it has more things, more models you could use. Let me go and explain it, guys, and I'll be right back. Well, I'll read the last thing, and then we'll stop this video. Alright, guys. Well, I'm out of messages now, but here's what I said for the last one. I told them, for beginners, it's recommended to only use 2 or 3. However, here's the thing special about this facility. You can only make one creature, but you can come back and make more if you can show you can take care of it. The thing about these creatures is they will always feel safer here with me, since they were born here. So if you mistreat them, they will definitely run away and come back over here to this facility, so we will know who took care of their creatures. If your creature ends up back here and you're not around, we know you haven't taken care of your creature and you will not be allowed to have another one. However, so you can care for your creature and love them, then you can have another one. The measurements need to be very precise. If you want the creature to be half and half of 2 different ones, for example, you would need to have 50% of each DNA, like I've done with mine here. And as for any legendary DNA, like the legendary Pokemon DNA you mentioned, any DNA is okay to handle here. Just remember to be very precise with how much of each creature you want. Unfortunately, you cannot start over once your creature is created. The only thing you can change once you get your creature egg is the size of the creature. That's it. Unfortunately, that's the only bad thing about this facility. Everything else is up to what you want. A thoughtful silence falls over the crowd as they absorb the weight and responsibility of what you just explained. The atmosphere shifts slightly. Excitement remains, but now carries a more serious undertone as people realize this isn't just a fun activity, but a genuine commitment to caring for a living being. Parents begin whispering quietly to their children, having important conversations about responsibility. Do you understand, sweetie? This is like adopting a pet. It's forever. We need to make sure we're really ready for this. Remember how we take care of Fluffy at home? It'd be like that, but even more important. A responsible-looking mother raises her hand. That's actually wonderful that you have those safeguards in place. It ensures only people who are truly committed will create creatures. How do you monitor their well-being once they leave the facility? A teenager looks slightly nervous now. So we really need to think carefully about our combination before we commit. That's actually kind of intense. An elderly man nods approval. Good policy. Too many people get pets without understanding the commitment. This way the creatures are protected. A young father asks, what happens to creatures whose owners can't care for them anymore? Do they stay here permanently? Someone in the group inquires. How do the creatures find their way back here? Is there some kind of homing instinct built into their genetics? The crowd seems more focused now, many more people taking a step back from the equipment as they seriously consider whether they're really ready for this responsibility. Some children tugging their parents' sleeves with worried expressions, while others look even more determined. Your bowl continues to glow with the perfectly balanced 50-50 mixture, serving as a tangible example of the precision and care required for this process. Guys, that's it. That's all I can do. I'm legit out of options. This thing is done. I have until 9. I can't do anything else with this. Bye.